Hey friends, Kenny Jang here. Let's talk about image generation today. So I'm inside our AI for Church Leaders group, and John asked a simple question, which is great. I tried asking multiple AI platforms, ChatGPT, Copilot, Perplexity, Claude, and Gemini to produce an image with an island floating upside down. Now, first of all, I don't think the actual chatbots are the best place to create images, but ChatGPT has DALL-E. It's improved tremendously. I'll actually use Sora to show you how to use ChatGPT that way. But anyway, he says all have come up with decent images, but none has produced an upside down island. I've even asked multiple times after the initial image with a few alternative prompts. What are the prompts I could use to actually have it generate an upside down island? Screenshots, for example. So here's one. So you see the island is upside down, but the castle and the trees are not. And here's another one. Obviously, there's some comments to say, hey, you can just turn this upside down. But then I think he's right, the clouds would be upside down as well. And you got a mountain in the background. He even tried to remove the mountains from the background. Didn't have luck. And so he actually posted the prompt here. Create a graphic image of a floating island with a castle nestled amongst mountains on it, and make the island floating upside down. So this is a great example of how we construct prompts and what the actual machine is doing. It is not listening to the gist of it. It is breaking down your sentence word by word and creating a mathematical representation of it. If you take our ChatGPT for Churches course, I go through some of the nerdiness without being too nerdy to explain in plain language what actually happens with these chatbots. And it's also why there's hallucination. It's also why it doesn't listen and comes up with this type of stuff. So if you break down this actual prompt, create a graphic image of a floating island. That's what happened, floating island. With a castle nestled amongst mountains on it. Okay, so there's castle with mountains. And then make the island floating upside down. Okay, so then let's make the island part float upside down. And I think it actually executed pretty well. It's a great intern listening to your directions. And what I was able to do is I was able to go to, let's look at Sora, and create this image. And I think this is a little bit true to what John probably wants. I went into ideogram, and same thing here, was able to create islands that are floating with a castle upside down. So let's look at the prompt that I used here. So in ChatGPT, you can actually do image generation here, obviously, but I went to Sora, and most people are looking at Sora for video generation. The stuff that is happening with videos is quite amazing in terms of the fidelity of the videos that are coming up. But what most people I should think forget about is that it actually produces amazing images as well. And so if you go to my account, this is the image that I created, and let's just read the actual prompt that I produced. And so it said, I want an illustration of an upside down floating island. So it's an upside down floating island suspended in the clouds. So you can see that it's an upside down island suspended in the clouds, right? Okay. With a flat rocky bottom exposed to the sky, and then an upside down medieval stone castle growing downward from the island's surface. Castle growing downward from the surface, right? With lush greens around it. Bright daylight filters through the clouds, soft light. So I put all this other stuff in there. You actually don't need to put this secondary part. But do you see how I said an upside down medieval stone castle growing downward from the island's surface? So I'm actually giving much more details, specificity of what the image generation model needs to do. Same thing here. Let's go to this one. And let's go to the prompt. And you can read my prompt here. and I modified it just a little bit, I believe it. Let's see. An illustration of an upside-down floating island suspended from the clouds, so that's what's happening, with a flat, rocky bottom exposed to the sky. It's done that. An upside-down medieval stone castle growing downward from the island surface. So again, it executed that well. Growing downward, right? An upside-down castle growing downward, with lush green greens around it. Bright daylight filters. Okay, so I think this is actually the same prompt. You can see how this prompt executes well across different image generation tools because I'm being very specific versus the original prompt that just said create a graphic image of a floating island, okay, floating island, with a castle nestled amongst mountains on it. Great. And then, separately, make the island floating upside down. So you're making the island. So that little nuance is something that you need to just, build your muscles in terms of writing prompts and being a little bit more specific. The way I would say it is if you actually called someone up blind and asked a friend to actually draw this and be literal about it, right? Someone who's very literal in taking directions. Your intern is very literal. So hopefully this helps. And John, hopefully you can use this image. Let me know if you have any questions, but that's just a little glimpse of writing these prompts for these image generation tools, as well as a peek at what ideogram and what Sora can produce.